Welcome everybody to this presentation. We're going to do a little presentation for you on how to use 90/10 nutrition and how to lead with nutrition in your conversations to help your Beachbody business. Okay, so a little background: 90/10 started in 2012. I created it. Ryan Chapman. I created it in 2012 to do a new kind of challenge group. Basically, I had done a lot of research on nutrition myself, found something that worked for me, created a system around it, and started doing challenge groups with it, and the success was huge. I just started, having people who changed their whole outlook on food and nutrition in general, and loved the system and thought it was easy to use and effective, and it just seemed like it really caught on. So I went with it, and one thing led to another. We have a 90/10 logo, a website, resources, all kinds of stuff. We've got coaches who have come through the 90/10 nutrition program, built their businesses around it, and use it to build a very good business. And so it's almost like another Beachbody program that's not fully endorsed by Beachbody as of the time of this filming. We'll see if maybe one day it is endorsed by Beachbody, but right now it's a program that we have for our team, and it's an awesome tool that you can use. So let's learn a little bit about how to use it. The topics that we're going to talk about today is leading with nutrition, how you lead with nutrition, why you should lead with nutrition. Then we'll talk about how 90/10 works, so you kind of understand the system. It's pretty simple, so that won't take too long. We're going to talk about how we invite to 90/10 nutrition, which goes right along with leading with nutrition, but we'll give a little bit more detail on that. Then we're going to talk about the resources that we have available for 90/10 nutrition, the tools, the resources, sharing tools, resources for both your customers who are going to use 90/10 and resources for you as a coach to help share it and invite and stuff like that. And then I'll give you a little summary at the end. Okay. So leading with nutrition. Why would you lead with nutrition in your conversations? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that, leading with nutrition means, like if somebody comes to me and asks me about PiYo, or asks me about a fitness program, or I'm talking to them about a fitness program, I am going to try to change the lead of that conversation to nutrition at some point, and usually very early. So they may ask me, like an example would be, someone would ask me, what's this PiYo stuff about and how does that work? And I give them a little bit about PiYo, and then I would go into, and actually I followed the nutrition plan that goes with PiYo, and that was probably a large portion of my success. And then I would start asking them questions about their nutrition, and I would lead with the nutrition, because what I want to do is get people thinking about nutrition as part of the whole equation. I don't want them to be thinking about just doing a fitness program, spending 30 to 60 minutes and getting nowhere because they're eating poorly. So I want them on the nutrition side. When I present the challenge pack with Shakeology, after we've talked extensively about nutrition and I've led with nutrition, it's a whole lot easier to get interest in the challenge pack when you do that. What most people are doing is leading with fitness, right? So they're saying, oh, this PiYo program is amazing, or hey, P90X3 is amazing. People are like, yes, I want to do that program. Awesome. How much is it? And then you say, oh, well, it's $120 for P90X3, but the challenge pack is on sale, so you should do that. You haven't talked about nutrition at all, and they're like, yeah, okay, a shake. Yeah, I don't really need that part. Okay, 120, got it, right? And you sell a program. And that's great. That's fine. But if you lead with nutrition and they understand the importance of nutrition, when you present the challenge pack as being the nutrition and fitness together, it's so much easier to talk to them about that. So most people struggle with nutrition anyway, right? So it's really the best place to start with people is, how's your nutrition? Nutrition's where you get the results. So start with people on nutrition and lead with that. If you can change their food, you can change their life. A workout program can help change people's lives, but any of these workout programs we have, most of them you do them for 90 days and then you move on to another workout program. Or maybe you do 2 or 3 rounds. Some people have done 10, 11 rounds of P90X, whatever. But if you can change the way people look at their food so that they eat differently, their entire life will change, and the fitness won't be as hard. Nothing will be as hard. So it's so awesome to lead with nutrition. Last point here, the upgrade to the challenge pack is super, super easy when you do this. If you get somebody invested in the idea of nutrition and they're like, oh, I've got to do this Shakeology stuff, like if what we're going to talk about with 90-10, if you get them interested in doing this 90-10 program and doing Shakeology, when you add in, hey, for $10 you can get PiYo, or for $10 you can get, the refresh, or for $10 you can get this, this extra workout program, it's like, oh, for 10, you've already got them interested in the Shakeology. They've already said, yes, I can pay $129 a month for this shake that I know is going to help me based on what we've talked about. $10 is nothing. If you start the other way and they're thinking 120, and you say, oh, for only, 85 more dollars, you can get the $205 P90X3 challenge pack, or for $60 you could get PiYo. Oh, by the way, for $80 more you can get the challenge pack. That's a much harder upgrade. So I always get the nutrition side first as much as I can, and then upgrade them into the challenge pack with the workout program afterwards, if that makes sense. Lisa, do you have any more points on that particular thing there? I know I just kind of went through them all, but amplifying info for everybody?
No, that's good. That's exactly what I do with the with the upgrade. I present 90-10. And then I say, oh, and so what do you do with fitness? And whatever they say, I have a program, talk to them a little bit more about fitness, and then $10 or $20 or $40, whatever, is so much easier than oh, for an extra $80 or an extra $85 you can get Shakeology, so
right.
yeah. So
yeah, exactly. And we'll go into more like, well, what if they start with fitness and stuff in the invitation portion here in a minute? But yeah, I mean, when you're leading with 90 nutrition, and not just nutrition, but leading with 90-10 nutrition, you get them all ready to go for a 90-10 group. Upgrading to that fitness program and the challenge pack is usually pretty easy. In fact, I would say that probably 90% of the people that are ready to go for 90-10 and are ready to buy Shakeology, they upgrade to a challenge pack. I would say 90% for me. How much do you think it is for you, Lisa? It's got to be close to that.
I think so. I think 9 out of 10 people definitely.
Yeah, and there's very few who are just like, no, I'll just take the Shakeology. Sometimes if they already have a workout program that they're using right then, I might get somebody in 90-10 that just bought a workout program not that long ago, maybe a lead, but really 9 out of 10 people. So that's why it's so amazing. So let's talk about how 90-10 works, so you know what we're talking about leading with, and if it's something that you can get involved in. So 90-10 is pretty simple. There's 3 tiers. There's a green tier, a yellow tier, and a red tier. The green tier they're all lists of food, and most of what you find on the list is single ingredient food items. They're not packaged items. You won't find fat-free mayonnaise on any of the lists. What you would find is the ingredients in fat-free mayonnaise, like high fructose corn syrup and eggs and oil and things like that you might find in a product like that. You would have to find those on the tiers. Okay, so you're not going to find a whole lot. There's a couple that are kind of packaged products, like there's bread, which has several ingredients, or wheat products and things like that. But they're all organized into a green, a yellow, and a red tier. The green being the healthiest foods, the yellow a little bit more questionable foods, and the red the very questionable foods. So what we do is take 90% of the daily intake from the green tier, 10% from the yellow tier, and 0% for the red tier, and that's how the 90-10 name comes. 90 from green, 10 from yellow. So this gives people that 10% where they can get, have some of the less healthy foods every day, 10%. So if you're on we usually go 2,000 calorie diet, let's say, you get 200 calories from the yellow tier. We help people come up with a calorie estimate at the beginning of the challenge. That's how they know how much they can get from the yellow, and then that's their max from the yellow every day. That's basically how we run the challenges, okay? Some people, nobody really follows that 100%, right? That's the goal. That's what you're trying to do. But you'll find things on the yellow tier like beer and wine, white bread products, white rice, and other things like that. Okay, and the fattier meats and things like that will be on the yellow tier. So you're going to be eating leaner meats on the green tier. You're going to be eating 100% whole wheat products on the green tier. You'll have fattier meats and white bread products on the yellow tier. So it keeps you away from a lot of those more processed simpler carbs, less whole foods that are in the yellow tier, and keeps you more in the green tier. It's very, very simple to follow. The easiest way to figure out if you're any food that you want to pick up is okay on 90/10. Look at the ingredients list if it has one. If it has an ingredients list, you need to read it and figure out where those things are on the green, yellow, and red tiers. And you know pretty easily, pretty quickly after you do it for a little while, you pretty much know whether something's yellow or green or red, right? The nutritional philosophy behind it is it eliminates most of the processed foods. It's not an extreme diet. So it's not one of, like I consider vegan and paleo to be a little bit more extreme than this. They cut out entire food groups, like paleo won't eat any wheat, no legumes, and several other things that they won't do. Vegans, of course, don't eat meat, and they don't eat dairy, and that's most of it. But they don't eat animal products, right? And so it cuts out all of that. Now, I'm not bashing those diets or anything, but I use them as an example. Like what I've been talking about lately is if you take all of the things that vegans and paleos agree on, which would be like fruits and veggies, right? Those you're going to find on the green tier. Things that they don't agree on so much, you moderate those, and that's kind of where the nutritional principles come from. Is it's not extreme over here, like completely cut out groups, but the ones that are a little more questionable, they're moderated a lot more. Okay, so that's the basic idea of the nutritional philosophy. It works really well. It's low ingredient. You're not eating processed foods, and it is highly effective for people. So the best thing about it is that it becomes a lifestyle for people. I think that's probably the most important part of it. When you say, Lisa, is that it's something that you're going to want to do for the rest of your life instead of something you're going to want to be done with when you're done with the challenge?
Absolutely. The first challenge that I did, a 90/10 challenge, like a couple weeks into it, I was thinking, that this was something I could do forever, that it wasn't hard, that there takes some getting used to having to prepare food and do things like that, especially for people that that aren't used to cooking. But once you get that routine down, and that's also a big seller for Shakeology, is that it's not as convenient to eat like this. And so Shakeology's the convenience food that they have. So
Right. Yeah, that's how Shakeology kind of fits into that. It's a green tier food, and it helps them with some of the convenience, like Lisa is saying, that might be taken away. This program is harder for some and not as hard for others. Like some people, depending on what your nutritional habits are, this can be difficult. I've heard some people say, I did want to quit after my first one, but I knew it was something that I could continue if I worked on it. And eventually, your view of food actually changes. Like you look at food differently. It's not the same anymore. You actually cannot eat some of the things that you used to eat. You look at them and go, I can't put that in my mouth. I can't, because I know what's in it. And I never used to look at what's in it, and now I did 90/10 and I looked, and now I can't do it anymore. So that's how 90/10 works. It's pretty simple. 3 tiers: 90% from the green, 10% from the yellow. You can find those tiers on 9010nutrition.com. If you want to download them and see what's on them. Let's see what else we got here. So more about how 90/10 works. Monthly groups. We do co-coached monthly groups, and the lead coach is rotated. So we have a bunch of coaches who lead these. There's about 10 of us or so that lead them, maybe probably more like 5 or 6 that really consistently lead these monthly groups, and they're a 4-week duration. There's also a 4-week challenge guide available for whoever leads these groups. If you want to get into leading these groups, if you're one of the coaches that have been through 90/10 but you've never led one of these groups, just let me know. Send me a message on Facebook or whatever and let me know that you'd like to lead one. We can definitely do that. But one coach kind of leads and does the majority of the posting from the challenge group guide, and then the rest of the coaches are there to support, to help their people, to answer questions, to post motivational stuff, all that kind of stuff. But they're usually 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 people in a group every month. I think the last one, the June one, how big was that one, Lisa? 50 or 60?
Yeah, I think it was like 57 or something.
Okay, yeah, so that's pretty typical for us for a month. Is at this point is 50 something people in there. About half of that is coaches, and the other half is the some of which are acting as challengers because they're trying to learn about it, and then the other is all of our customers that we've added for that month. We'd like to grow that, and that's one of the reasons why we want to have a training about this, is so that more coaches can use this system to help their people. Okay, so inviting to 90-10 nutrition. Lisa, I want to try to get you as involved in this as I can because you do this all the time. But my first point here is leading with nutrition. And I kind of already talked about this, but an example transition if someone asks about a workout. Like how would you transition? I'm kind of putting you on the spot here because we didn't prepare for this at all. But an example transition if someone asks you about T25, how are you going to transition to leading with nutrition so that you don't just go, oh yeah, let's go order your T25. By the way, would you like to upgrade to a challenge pack and it's $80 more?
Well, usually I'll ask them, what it is that interests them about T25 or what have they heard about T25, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And then, I'll normally just tell them my story, that I was really active and that that it's great to be active and you can lose weight being active, but really the key is nutrition. And then I'll ask them about their nutrition. And normally when I ask them about their nutrition, they'll either say, well, I eat pretty good, or they think they eat good, or and so, but a lot of times, probably 80% of the time, they say, oh, I eat pretty good. And so I'll just delve into that a little bit more and say, what does that mean to you that you eat pretty good? Like, give me an example of what you eat in a day. And, I'll ask them how much they go out to eat, how much fast food they eat, what do they eat for breakfast normally, do they have a daily latte? I'll ask them things like that and just delve into their nutrition in really like 90% of the time. Once you do that, you kind of discover that they don't really eat healthy. And it's super easy to say, oh well, you eat McDonald's for lunch every day, how much do you spend on that? Asking some questions like that to kind of get an idea and to kind of lessen the chances of there being a cost objective.
Objection.
So yeah,
exactly. I mean, and usually, I mean, I've heard you do this before, and this is the way I do it too. Is you're oftentimes asking a question with part of your story involved in it, right? Like,
yes.
So how much do you eat out? Because I know when I first started, I was eating out this much, and
yes.
And when I did the math on that, I was pretty wowed at how much money I was spending. How much do you usually eat out? And then that kind of softens, it's not like an interrogation at that point, right? It's like sharing your story and asking, is that the same for you? And it works really well to transition that way into, yeah, this is what I found when I was doing it, is that nutrition was the biggest part. And then, hey, I found out that I was spending this much money on fast food. Do you eat out a lot too? Hey, I found out that I was doing this too. Do you do that? And just kind of asking those questions and finding out about their current eating habits. That's one of the points here. What do they eat? Where do they spend their money? Where does their money go every day? And what kind of foods go in their mouth? Because when you have that information, you can share better how the system works and how it's going to help them. If you don't know that information, it's hard to share that, right?
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times that I've had people say to me after I talk to them about this, wow, I'm going to save so much money using Shakeology.
Right. I just had someone actually who, told me, well, yeah, I did this exact thing. They were talking about PiYo, and I transitioned to nutrition, and they're like, yeah, I definitely need some help with nutrition, but I want to keep it really economical, right? And usually what that means is, when somebody says that, is please don't make me buy an expensive shake. That's what they mean, right? That's they know that I sell Shakeology, right? So that's what they mean. And so I said, oh, okay, cool. Well, let's see if we can keep it economical for you. And I said, in order to make sure I understand what economical is for you, could you run me through, like a typical day for you eating. You know, like, where do you go? Do you eat, you know, this is a military person. I said, do you eat on the base? Do you eat, you know, do you pack a lunch from home? What do you do? And he ran me through his day, and he was like, well, I usually spend about $5 for lunch every day. And I was like, okay, cool. All right. So we went through the whole conversation, and I said, and he says, and I also, you know, I just struggle with convenience. I don't have anything that I feel is healthy that I can, you know, just grab and go. He gave me all that information with one question, right? And so I just said, you know, after I got that, I might ask a couple more questions. I said, what if I could replace your lunch with something that you could just grab and go, and that was, you know, easy, but it was only $4 a day? You know, and he was like, well, that would be awesome. I said, okay, well, watch this video about 90-10, and it's going to talk about Shakeology in there, okay? We're going to be able to do 90-10 with the Shakeology and probably actually save you money. He watched the video, he came back, and he was like, where do I sign up? This is perfect, right? And it was, now if I had just said, without asking him about his $5 lunch, if he hadn't put that in his mind, and I would have said, here, buy the Shakeology, he would have been like, oh, I can't afford Shakeology, right? I wanted to keep it economical. But I was able to show him through just asking him questions that he already spends $5 a day on something he doesn't want to spend $5 a day on. So, hey, if you want to get healthy, you know, we can do $4 a day and be healthy. And he was cool with that. So that's kind of how we do that conversation, transitioning into the nutrition side of things, asking about their current eating habits. If someone's asking about Shakeology particularly, the reason I put this on here, an example transition, is because some people ask about Shakeology as a quick fix or a you know, a weight loss shake, and I really don't like to sell it that way. I don't like to give it to people that way. I like to transition them into a talk about their entire eating habits, so that we can either use 90-10 nutrition, or if they're already eating fairly healthy, they just want a more convenient thing to have for breakfast or something, then I'm cool with that. But I want to find that out, right? I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, cool, just replace one meal with Shakeology and you'll lose weight. If they're eating pizza and, you know, like every night, and, you know, eating fast food all the time, right? I want to have that conversation. So I do the same type of transition. I'm like, oh yeah, Shakeology is amazing. It does this, it does that. How's the rest of your diet? You know, what do you normally eat otherwise? Where do you, you know, and I try to get where they're spending their money, what they're putting in their mouth, and then find out what they're actually struggling with. Why are they actually asking about Shakeology, right? Hope that makes sense. That's kind of, do I have any more on inviting? Yeah, okay, so I do. I obviously didn't study these slides well enough. But the next thing is, if you get all that information from somebody about, kind of like what I was talking about there, where I said, if I could show you how to only spend $4 a day, would you be interested in that? That's kind of your next step after you found out their eating habits and you see the struggles that they have. Say, if I could show you a system that would help you eliminate X, or help you get over that, or help you save money on that, would you be willing to watch a video about it? Or would you be interested in that? And if they come back and say, yes, I would be happy to watch a video on that. We've got a couple of videos that you can send people to show them what 90-10 nutrition is all about, so you don't have to explain the system to them. This is third-party tools. If you've done your 7-day training, you've probably heard about third-party tools. If you've been a coach for a while, hopefully you're using third-party tools. So I say, if I could show you a system that would help you, would you be interested in watching a video about that? Do you have time to watch that video right now? Yes, I do. I would send over the overview video that's on the 90-10 nutrition site. So if you go to www.9010nutrition.com, there's an overview video right there on the home screen. I would just send them that and say, here, watch this video. Then get back to me. And 10 minutes later, you get back to them. The other one you can send is, we just finished a testimonial video from a lot of the coaches who do 90-10 who are all at Summit. And it's a great video that talks about the benefits of 90-10 nutrition and about how it's a lifestyle change, and how Shakeology fits into it and all that kind of stuff. It's a great video. We've had a lot of good feedback on it. So you can also send them that if you want to. So if they come back, they're like, I think it's okay. I'm not sure about it. Maybe you say, oh, well, would you like to hear what some other people have said about it? Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, here's another video that you can watch. That one's only like 6 or 7 minutes or something like that. Okay. So there's 2 videos that you can do. You can get to the 90/10 Nutrition YouTube channel as well, and those videos will be on there. Then you follow up. Then you explain the commitments of the group, and then you enroll them in your challenge group by having them order Shakeology and upgrading to a challenge pack, which I think we've pretty much covered, right? Is saying, oh, okay, well, for an extra $10, you can get a workout program. Have you thought about, what are you doing for workouts right now? That's how I would say that. Hey, great, we're going to get you in this 90/10 group. We got to get your Shakeology ordered. But I also want to let you know that for $10 extra, we have these packages where you can get a workout program. What are you doing for fitness right now? Is fitness something that I can help you with too? And see what they say about that. And it's usually a pretty easy upgrade. Our fitness programs, everybody's heard of them. That's why a lot of people lead with fitness, is because it's easy to lead with fitness because people know P90X and people know P90X3 and all this stuff. But when you lead this way, it's also easy to upgrade. Okay. All right, Lisa, anything else on inviting before I move on? We're almost done.
No, I think you covered it.
Okay, so 90/10 resources and tools. 9010nutrition.com, got a great website. So you've got a... Don't you have one?
A what?
Lisa?
Yes.
Did I lose Lisa? You have your own 90/10 site, right? So coaches can get their own 90/10 site. That would be 9010nutrition.com/Lisa or 9010nutrition.com/Rob or whatever your name is. You can get one of those so that you can send people directly to your 90/10 site to register for the groups. We also have a coach drop-down list, which the websites cost $40, but the coach drop-down list is free. I'll add you to the coach drop-down list. And when somebody registers through 9010nutrition.com for a website and picks for a group and picks your coach name out of the drop-down list, then that email goes to you and says, hey, somebody is registered for a 90/10 group. And then you can go start that conversation with them. Okay, so that's one of the resources that we have. We also have a 90/10 Nutrition like page on Facebook, which has about 4,500 fans. And we post on it pretty regularly. There's about 10 coaches that post on there and put out motivational things, recipes, all kinds of stuff like that. So you can hook people. We have a 90/10 Nutrition Pinterest page, which has hundreds of recipes organized by 90/10 lunch, 90/10 dinner, 90/10 breakfast, Shakeology recipes, Shakeology dessert recipes, game day snacks, and slow cooker recipes and all kinds of stuff like that. So we've got a great Pinterest page that probably could use even more updating, but there is a bunch of good stuff on there. We also have an alumni group for people who have been through 90/10 groups. They can go into an alumni group and continue to get 90/10 info there. We have the full challenge group guide. So if you want to run one of these challenge groups, you can get the challenge group guide and run one. It's just like the Beachbody challenge group guides, where it tells you what to post every day, and you can change that a little bit to fit your style. We have a bunch of very helpful and professionally done videos on the 90/10 Nutrition YouTube channel that we post in the groups. Talk about meal planning, how to eat at a restaurant, how to shop at a grocery store. And then we also have meal planning and shopping documents that people can use to actually write out their meal plans, write out their shopping lists, and go to the store with 90/10 logos everywhere. Am I missing anything, Lisa, for resources and tools that we have?
No, I think that's it.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. I mean, there's really a lot of resources out there for 90/10, and we could do better. I mean, we've got a blog that I didn't mention that we could be blogging on more often and putting out stuff for people. If we had more coaches who were running these groups with us and were interested in doing 90/10 stuff, we could make it even better. So, it's such an amazing resource and such a great way to get people interested in Shakeology and in healthy eating and changing their lives and moving into, workout programs and all that kind of stuff, and then becoming a coach too. People love it. So, summary: leading with nutrition works. People change their lives more, I think, when you lead with nutrition and help them get that part fixed. Leading with nutrition helps people. 90-10 nutrition works, and it's sustainable. You can do this for the rest of your life. You can do 90-10 nutrition for the rest of your life. I'm never perfect with 90-10 nutrition, and I go on and off of it here and there, but the general principles of it are things that I still enjoy eating when I'm doing 90-10 nutrition. I don't hate it, right? And that's probably one of the big things. The resources are obviously there. You invite by digging into their nutrition habits and solving their issues with 90-10, and then you utilize the resources that are available to help them. That's pretty much how 90-10 nutrition works. So I'm going to go look and see if there's any questions. Lisa, do you have anything closing?
No, I think you covered everything.
Did I?
I think so.
We should have practiced this more, so I got you more involved in that, but I didn't know how to get you involved. But
it's okay.
You don't have any closing comments?
Just to reinforce what you said about leading with 90-10 nutrition, it's all I do. I really never lead with workouts, ever. Even with PiYo, it's been out there, and lots of people, you've had your PiYo group, but even with that, people will ask me about workouts, wear and share and things like that, and I always just change the subject to nutrition, and then say, oh yeah, and didn't we talk about the workout? Do you want to add that? And it's what I do 100% of the time, and it's been very successful for me.